Hello there. I'd like to thank you for joining us. That sounds more like Colfax. That's him, Schuyler Colfax, our congressman, with a worried look on his face. He's going to ask people to support war today. War against their own countrymen, against their neighbors and friends, and in some cases, their own relations. A lot has happened in the last few days, but I'll let Congressman Colfax tell you about that. I believe that a civil war is coming, and it's going to affect everyone more than they can possibly know. It's going to affect all of us here. My name is Elijah Hastings Powell. I can trace my American family clear back to the mid-1700s. The Honorable Mr. Schuyler Colfax was a newspaper man before he became our congressman in 1855. Mother Angela from St. Mary's is with one of her students, Alice Owens. Alice is deaf. One of the first things Mother Angela did when she took the leadership role at St. Mary's was to start a school for the deaf. Picked up the information while she was in France. And Father William Corby is a young priest from Notre Dame, a private boys' school. Father Corby's talking to one of his students, Frank Baldwin. Those are Frank's parents, Silas and Jane Baldwin, and next is his sister Elizabeth. Let's see, after Elizabeth is Van Greenwood. He's visiting his family here, wants to settle here. And last, way over at the end, is a new resident to our community, Grace Goodman. Grace moved up from the South, married a local boy who's serving in the Army. Well, that's a lot of information. I'm sure you're a little confused, I would be. I think things will get sorted out for you shortly.
My name's Baldwin. I'm here from Elkhart to let you know that all of us in the region stand together today. As most of you know, last Friday, the southern states fired on Fort Sumter. 2 Union boys have been killed. Now President Lincoln has asked the states for 75,000 volunteers to help put down the rebellion. I've been asked to introduce the Honorable Mr. Schuyler Colfax, who will give us the latest information about this terrible event.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin, for that rousing introduction. My friends, I will keep this short so that you may have full opportunity to participate. South Carolina seems to have found some glory in igniting the torch of civil war. Forbearance on the part of the United States government, almost to the extreme of humiliation, has been met with arrogance and insult, unable to provoke the United States into any act of violence or bloodshed, which would have served as a pretext for their act. They themselves have most wickedly precipitated the Republic into war. A parricidal act as infamous as the ruffian who aims a death blow at the mother who bore and nurtured him. This is why your country, your state, your fellow Americans ask for your help to save the Union from these hooligans. The President has requested volunteers to help put an end to this rebellion. Request a 3-month service to your country, unless the insurrection should be put down before then. Then, of course, you will come home early. You will have the very best arms available to you in the world, and go forth knowing that God protects the right you fight for and protecting you. Brave men who imperil your lives in its vindication. God and man awaits your response to your nation, to your state's call. Now is the time, boys. Walk up and put your name down. There is someone here who will sign you up for the grand adventure of your 3-month stint. Thank you, my fellow citizens, and may God bless you. So, my young friend, what do you think?
I'm worried about the students, Congressman. Are students supposed to leave before their tests? And what if the war drags on into the fall? What then?
A war's quick and decisive victory is a myth. These young men will go off to war with the expectation that it will be, in your very own words, a grand adventure. Is the country ready for the results of the dead and the injured?
What will this do to our country, our state? Yes, the North is superior in industry, finance, numbers for now. But what if more states join the South? What if the South decides to bring the war to us, to our homes, to our families, to our property? I'm not against you, Schuyler, but we need to go in with our eyes open.
I worry about the mothers and their sons who sign up. I thank God that at 16, Frank is too young to fight. But I have friends with older sons. What must they be thinking? To lose a child would be a terrible thing.
Young men are the ones who have to go. That's the way of things. I served in the Black Hawk War, my father in the Revolutionary War. John, our son-in-law, has already talked about joining if the time comes.
My friends, all that you say is true, but it is also true that we've been fired upon by ruffians who wish to tear the Union apart and continue the practice of slavery. Should we just stand by and do nothing while we are insulted? Yes, threatened. And if not now, when would we respond?
I'm not much in favor of war myself. I'm planning on moving here. My brother is here, and I want to help him with his farm and eventually work to buy my own. Going to war isn't in my plans. The Union needs to stay together, that I do know. I'm unclear what this war is about or what it's going to mean. I just hope it's over in 3 months.
I can't bear to listen to all this. My family are not demons or ruffians. My husband's already in the army. What if they send him south to fight against our family? I'm helpless. I hate all politicians.
The president gave a speech the other day at Gettysburg, the place where all that carnage took place last July. It was being dedicated as a national cemetery. Edward Everett gave a 2-hour oration, so the crowd was primed. Nothing really remarkable about Lincoln's speech. Short. People thought he was just beginning to get warmed up, and before they knew it, he was finished and sat down. I got a copy of the speech, and after reading it a couple times, I think it says a lot about what this country's all about. Like I said, it's only a minute or two long, but I think it needs to be heard. 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as the final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live.
It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.
But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground.
The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract.
The world may little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here.
It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated to the work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced.
It is rather that we remain dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion.
That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation under God will have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. That's it. That's why we're here.
Ruth was never a well child, sweetie. She's out of pain now.
She was such a wonderful little girl. So
I know.
sweet.
I know. Such a beautiful smile.
I understand you better now, Mom. The house is so quiet. I remember how much you enjoyed Jenny, and then with Ruth, how you lit up. I wanted so much for you to be happy, too. I'm sorry.
Honey, there's nothing for you to be sorry about. Things happen in life that we can't stop, we can't avoid. I've gotten used to the way things are for me, but for you, you'll have another chance.
Oh, Mom, no more chances. Maybe I'm just avoiding it, but I can't. Besides, there may have been some issues with the baby. I'm never going to forget Ruth, but I'm going to live my life. I'm going to take whatever comes my way and grab hold.
I've heard some things, Liz. Have you been drinking?
A split of champagne before bed each evening to help me sleep on doctor's orders.
A half a bottle?
Yes, Mom, you should try it. I also sometimes wear makeup, smoke a cigar occasionally, and have been known to swear. Look, I can't say I miss that little girl more than you know, because I can see it in your eyes, Mom. There'll always be that emptiness I can't fill, but I'm not going to stop living my life. You taught me that.
I know, Liz. I love you, for what you are. We each of us have to find our own way.